Welcome, my 74 subscribers, everyone on Wrestling Reddit, and any one of you who's afraid of using not so sanitary toilets. Welcome to my review of AEW Dynamite Fyter Fest Night 1. So I'm back from the field, I'm back from the wilderness, and yeah, I did a lot of medical shit, but now I'm back home for the weekend, and so I'm going to review this special Dynamite that happens 2 weeks after the previous special Dynamite. I think this is diluting your special Dynamites. What's even the point anymore in having these special name Dynamites? So that's my initial problem with this, having 2 weeks straight of Fyter Fest right after Blood and Guts that hit 1 million. So I think this was a pretty bad mistake since I already saw the ratings that this drew and it's lower than last week's. And yeah, I think AEW dropped the ball on this one. But for the show itself, let's get on to that. So Fyter Fest opens with Wardlow versus Orange Cassidy for the TNT Championship. And this starts with a picture-in-picture promo with Orange Cassidy and the best friends behind him. They know that Orange has no chance against this very, very strongly built Wardlow, so they make it known to everyone that they're gonna cheat. And cheat they do. So the match starts off as comedy. So we have a funny standoff between Wardlow and Orange. We have the best friends cheat once, but they really make it count here. Also, we have a surprise appearance from their agent, their lawyer, Danhausen. So yeah, these might be my top 3 spots of the match, because what comes after this initial comedy segment is the match slows down. It takes away from the initial cheering that this match built up. It takes away from the crowd heat. Yeah, the middle part of this is just Wardlow trying to get Orange, but Orange escaping, and then we have a lot of waiting. So yeah, that's my main problem about this match. This would have been better if it was all action all the time, or at least take out some of the waiting segments. But yeah, for the entire match, Orange is clearly the inferior dude here. There is a clear gap in the power levels without making Orange look weak. And Orange manages to hold his own. He manages to prolong the match without making Wardlow look weak. So Orange gets off a lot of his moves, but since Wardlow is the more powerful wrestler, he has a higher HP. He can survive more attacks, while Orange has to keep running or he's gonna be destroyed after a couple of moves. So yeah, we get 2 notable near falls that are effective. And then the match ends with a counter to a finisher, leading to that guy's finisher. So yeah, so Orange does an orange punch, he misses, and then Wardlow catches him for the powerbomb. And I don't think this is the right way you should be finishing opponents with Wardlow. Even if Orange Cassidy is an upper mid-carder, I still think Wardlow should have caught him. He should have beat his ass, and then with Orange giving all he has, gets power bombed for the win for Wardlow. And not like this where it comes out of nowhere, it's a counter to a finisher, and Orange has the upper hand, but Wardlow just catches him at the right place at the right time. But I think how they should have finished this match is just have Wardlow gain advantage with that power bomb, then do a powerbomb symphony on Orange for all the trouble he's caused and stuff. Yeah, that would have been a better finish. So it's not gonna be in my top 3 spots of the match. So yeah, so let's move on to the top 3 spots of the match. So number 1 or number 3, all of these are gonna be at the start, because that's the best part of the match. So number 3 is when Wardlow notices something odd under the ring. And then he opens up the apron and then pulls Danhausen out. Wardlow holds him in front of Orange. Danhausen tries to curse Wardlow, but come on. that guy's self-preservation comes first, and then he is sent along his merry way with a pat on the back from Wardlow. This was really funny right here. And so we get one subversion of expectations followed by another where we think that the distraction fails, but Orange runs to the other side and then hits Wardlow with an orange punch. So yeah, this is a really great spot right here. So yeah, so for number 2, we have this like distraction thing where Trent is on the corner playing with a turnbuckle, and then Chuck Taylor on hardcam pulling out a chainsaw. But Trent's distraction isn't enough, and then Bryce Remsburg catches Chuck in the act, like pulling out a chainsaw. So they get sent out because they were trying to commit murder. So yeah, really funny, and I like that right after this, like for Orange's mind games, he does like the soft kicks and only manages to complete it because the ref pulls Wardlow back. Again, great spot. You should go watch this, even if you don't watch the whole match, because this like start here is again the most entertaining part. And then for the number 1 spot in the match, it's the standoff at the beginning where Wardlow tears off Orange's pockets. He pulls Orange's hands out, and so like the pockets get like turned inside out as well, and then he just yanks on the pockets, throws it at the crowd, and then yeah, Orange doesn't have that anymore. So from the start, Wardlow is a smart big man and is portrayed very strong. He's not the one to get fooled by like the best friends Danhausen or Orange Cassidy. Wardlow is like on a higher tier. So this got the biggest pop of the entire match. But this isn't the end of it, because what happens after is Wardlow pulls down his like singlets. I think that's what you call it. Wardlow pulls down his singlets, and then Orange pulls them back up, puts it back on Wardlow, and then these never go down again. And then Orange does like his own version of Wardlow's taunt. And yeah, these got the best reaction of the entire match. So this has to be spot number 1. So yeah, I really enjoyed this match, even if the middle was pretty bad. But yeah, that start was enough to like make it, I don't know, like a pay-per-view sort of undercard match. But it can't be like a TV main event because of the comedy. So yeah, so it's a TV undercard, pay-per-view undercard sort of match. So after this, I really love that 2 baby faces show respect to each other. So Wardlow picks up Orange. The best friends get ready to help him, but then Wardlow says, "Hold it right there. I'm not gonna kick his ass. He's a good dude." He fist bumps Orange, and then this puts Wardlow even more over. This gains him allies, I think, whenever he gets in another feud with like a faction this time. So yeah, from what I'm seeing here, I think Wardlow's already better booked than Goldberg. It's a natural progression to get to like a world title. And he's showing some character by like making friends with some people, not just destroying them like a mindless fucking one-dimensional shit. And yeah, it adds to Wardlow's character. It positions him to like a more babyface, a more like main character sort of position in the card. And yeah, this is all good. And I love this whole interaction right here. So yeah, next match. So after this, we get this short recap of Pac's defense of his newly won All-Atlantic Championship against Shota Umino from New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's like a young lion graduate who's like in between the main roster and developmental. He's finding his character, but he's not yet one to win a lot of matches. He can beat young lions, but he can't beat any of the bigger stars. So I haven't watched this match yet. I'm gonna get to that. And yeah, it does look pretty cool. And I think it's nice to like let people know what is happening with like that championship that's being defended all around the world. So after that, we get an in-ring promo by Chris Jericho that goes uninterrupted. I was expecting like some response or rebuttal by Eddie Kingston right away, but we don't get that. We just get Jericho cutting this well-delivered promo, but the content is a bit hit or miss. Kind of more miss for me. Basically saying everyone who associates with Eddie gets like the worst effing luck ever. Everyone that befriends Eddie gets injured and ends up in a worse place because Eddie Kingston is toxic. We get some zingers that like don't hit with the crowd, like Bryan Danielson being out and we don't know when he's coming back, as well as like one addressing Ruby Soho where Jericho says, what was it? Like, you need to take better care of your chicks, but yeah, it doesn't hit well with the crowd. They don't pop at all or like get shocked or anything, because I don't think that's the sort of relationship that like Ruby and Eddie have, even if he calls her my Ruby, so that was pretty weird for me. But yeah, I mean, Eddie's married and the crowd know that too. Come on. And then for the second part of the promo, it's about like their barbed wire match. We get like a piece of information that I've never known before. It's that Jericho has wrestled in like a barbed wire match before. This is gonna get the crowd searching for it. And he says he's gonna match up with Eddie Kingston in terms of violence and in terms of everything. He is gonna make Eddie Kingston bleed, that Noah and all the animals are just... So yeah, so this is not a very good line. It kind of doesn't make sense. And yeah, now that I think about it, the delivery by Chris Jericho was really good, but the content was just a little bit shit. I would have preferred for Jericho to talk about how JAS are going to be like suspended above the ring and how that makes him feel, because that's a weird stipulation. It's out of this world because you have like a barbed wire match in the ring, and then you have, like, for no apparent reason at all of JAS in a shark cage, like suspended, and that's pretty dangerous, and I don't know how that's gonna play out, but I hope the match is good. Jericho also declares that this is gonna be their final encounter. He makes fun of Eddie Kingston for being like a drunkard and like having mental health issues. And yeah, let's not get too sensitive. This was like maybe the best line of the entire match. It makes the heel more heelish and the babyface more sympathetic. So overall, this promo, great delivery, meh content. It's alright. Like, it's just okay. It happened. It could have been a better segment, but that's what we get. So yeah. Okay, so after like a commercial break without picture-in-picture, we get Eddie Kingston's response backstage, and yeah, it's like the Eddie Kingston promo. It's a really good promo, well delivered. Also great content. We have like Ruby and Ortiz in the background to like emphasize Eddie's points. He shows off what JS did to them, and he just vows vengeance. It's like pretty effective because this is Eddie Kingston cutting a promo. It was short and sweet. It hit all its points, and yeah, great promo here by Eddie Kingston. So after this is match number 2. It's Konosuke Takeshita versus Jon Moxley for like an eliminator tournament for the interim AEW Championship. And I don't get this like match condition here. I guess if he beats Mox, he gets a shot at the title. But don't you already do that anyway if you beat the champion? Or do they just call like singles matches against the champion eliminator matches? I don't know. But yeah, they could have made it like less confusing if they just made it like a singles match, and it's already understood to everyone that if he beats Mox, of course he's gonna get a shot. So Konosuke enters first, and he's not very charismatic. Like the way he interacts with the crowd, he's no Okada yet. He's no Keno, he's no Nakajima, he's no Go Shiozaki yet. But he's gonna get there. He's like 20 plus years old. I think he's like 27. He's younger than me. But yeah, as for now, not really much charisma there. He kind of reminds me of Kaito Kiyomiya, who's just like this great in-ring wrestler. Young also, but still hasn't had an established character. aside from being great wrestler who is an underdog in his matches. But in the ring, just like Kiyomiya, Takeshita is really good. He knows how to make his offense seem heavier. He has a variety of moves in his moveset that only he himself does compared to the rest of the roster in AEW. So yeah, this match topped the last one. It starts with a typical wrestling exchange, but then after an initial flurry of attacks by Takeshita that includes like the German suplex on the apron, it turns into like the Takeshita underdog story because Mox gets the better of him. He makes him bleed with like a forearm according to the commentators, so that means Takeshita bladed or something. So the part where the match slows down is when like right after this, Mox gains control. He like does a superplex and then some rest holds, asserting his dominance on the young Konosuke. But after this, it starts being a lot more evenly matched and then it picks up. They do their high impact stuff, but with Takeshita, it's a lot more entertaining because he does the sort of moves that you would put in your character in like an old SmackDown versus Raw game. Like I used to put all of like the cool high impact moves on my guy. Like I used to never put those grapple strike moves in the old games. I just used to like do high impact stuff all the time, and that's kind of what Takeshita feels like. He seems like he's really fun to use in a video game. So the finish of the match here isn't as good as the one with Kingston. That one had like a prolonged ending sequence that was really fun to watch, but here Mox just counters like the straitjacket German, turns it into a Death Rider, and then finishes the match with a bulldog choke for the submission win. It's just him grinding down Takeshita and like him being a dick about it, since he could have just went for the pinfall. Takeshita had nothing left after. But instead, he ends the match with a bulldog choke submission, like just for the hell of it. And yeah, this is what heels would do. And so yeah, Mox gets cut open, but I didn't see when this happened. Yeah, this just happened. It might be like a reopened wound or something. Yeah, but still, great match. Better than the first one. So for the spots of the match, number 3 is a Blue Thunder Bomb by Takeshita. He does this as Mox is going for a sleeper hold, but then he counters it into a Blue Thunder Bomb. I love this move. So yeah. Number 2 is when Mox was trying to go for the Death Rider / Paradigm Shift. He tries this. Konosuke flips out of this. He does a discus forearm. Mox's like front of his body hits the ropes. He bounces back, and then Konosuke catches him in a German suplex. I love this sequence. Really good. This is number 2 spot of the match. And for number 1, it's the German suplex to the apron. This always looks cool. This is like number 2 to Takeshita's like top rope clothesline that he does, but he hasn't been doing as often. But yeah, this looks very good. Mox sells it better than Eddie Kingston. So yeah, this is number 2 spot of the match. So yeah, this match was really good. I enjoyed it, but not as much as the Kingston one. Konosuke has been awesome against like everyone he's faced in AEW. I mean, like, it's not even close. He's like in a league of his own already. Even if he doesn't win the matches, he always gets this is awesome chance. He just needs to find a character. And as for Mox, he isn't the main focus of the match for me. I think he's just there to pick up the win, look strong. And yeah, he's like an alright interim champion. It would have been better if it was a Danielson or something, since we've already seen Mox with a championship, or like just anyone else in the main event scene. Maybe a Kingston would have been cool to face off against Punk when he comes back. But yeah, Mox is alright. This match was really good. Next. So after this, we have like a promo from God knows where by the House of Black, except Buddy Matthews. So yeah, Julia Hart's voice isn't vibing with the faction for me. I think she needs to like play it up or something, use some voice acting skills. But as for the rest of the people who talked in this promo, Malachi Black, again, really good. And Brody King, we don't really hear him talk a lot, but here he delivers nicely. They talk about how Darby Allin should have just like shut up and took the loss without shaking one's hand. And I kind of agree with this because Darby's like handshake after Brody's loss was kind of an insult because even it's like even though you beat me, you lost to the champion, so your win is like useless, is like pointless. So yeah, I think Darby is like sort of in the wrong here, and Brody King attacked him in like a skate shop wherever, like a place where they sell like a lot of like black shirts from the promo. And I like that this might be the first time that Sting and Darby are going to be up against a team that's like well and beyond above them in terms of power level. And I wonder how Sting reacts to like the faction. I wonder if he'll no sell again, because this isn't just like dudes that are smaller than him. This isn't El Fantasmo. Like no one in the House of Black is like to be seen as the weak link. Like all of them are fucking strong. The closest you can get to that is probably Buddy Matthews, but not by much. So yeah, really good promo, nice choice for a feud, and I'm gonna tune in for next week for this. Okay, so next we have like a squash match between Luchasaurus and Griff Garrison. So this starts off with like a stage promo while the Varsity Blondes are in the ring. So Christian, again, steals the show. He insults wrestlers either dead or like in trouble, family members. And for this week, it's Brian Pillman Sr. He calls him average at best, even showing like a little bit of respect. Respect is still there because Pillman was a wrestler, but then insults Junior that he's not even living up to this already like mid standard, and sort of calls him a disappointment. This gets him angry while like Griff is like holding him back. But then Christian turns his attention on Griff and he like shows a picture of him in Jungle Boy's like environment. It's like a jungle, and then says that Griff looks a lot like Jungle Boy. And then this motivates Luchasaurus to kick his ass, to squash Griff Garrison's ass in like a match that goes on for like about 2 minutes, I think. It's just a couple of big moves, a choke slam, and then the snare trap with a nerve hold, and nothing much really. Garrison stands no chance and gets beaten up even after. There was some little protection on Brian Pillman though, because he gets distracted by Christian before he's attacked by Luchasaurus. So Luchasaurus sets him up on the timekeeper's table, goes for the chokeslam. He like choke slams Griff Garrison while Pillman is on the table. Table doesn't break, so he does it again, and then the table breaks. End of match / segment. But yeah, the match itself was like meh. It's like nothing. It's a squash match. It serves in just building up Luchasaurus, basically. But as for that promo by Christian, again, he steals the show every time. He has a great gimmick going for him. He's like their replacement for MJF in the meantime while CM Punk is out. But if they keep doing this thing, I think it's gonna get boring soon. So Jungle Boy needs to come back to finally respond to Christian's actions and then like give him the comeuppance. But maybe not right away. Like he needs to lose to Luchasaurus first. He needs to overcome him and then faces off against Christian, and we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, they could really prolong this feud if they really want to. It doesn't have to culminate at All Out. Maybe like have Luchasaurus versus Jungle Boy at All Out and then the match against Christian further down the line. Maybe bring Marco Stunt back or whoever else. So yeah, next segment. Okay, so this next segment is a backstage promo, a backstage interview by Tony Schiavone on members of the JAS. So that's 2.0, so Daddy Magic, Cool Hand Ange, and Daniel Garcia. So this interview here is like pretty all over the place. And by all over the place, I mean the three interviewees aren't talking about the same thing. Because the immediate danger to them is the shark cage match, the barbed wire everywhere match, where they'll be suspended up the ring. And yeah, 2.0 talk about this. They reveal that they're scared of heights, that they're scared of cages after they just lost the Blood and Guts match. They do their awesome promo work, nice accents, really funny from Daddy Magic. This is all well and good. If the promo ended here, this would have been all good. But then Daniel Garcia, without being prodded over what he's talking about, without being asked about his opinion in his match with Wheeler Yuta at Death Before Dishonor, he just comes out of nowhere and then talks about it. He talks about Wheeler Yuta cosplaying as him. And yeah, this was out of nowhere. He wasn't even asked, so I don't think this fit. Along with Daniel Garcia's whole character. It doesn't fit with the faction. It's not sports entertainment. This brought the whole thing down for me. He should have talked about the barbed wire cage suspended match and not about Wheeler, because he could have just done this on Rampage, and that's not the point of this whole interview. So yeah, I didn't like this because of Daniel Garcia. Okay, so after this, we have a backstage interview again with Tony Schiavone and now with Hangman Page. Tony asks him about the Royal Rampage, how disappointed Page is. He gives some non-answers. He's not 100% into the promo. It looks like his mental health is getting onto him again. He might go start drinking again, whatever. He isn't the most confident person in the roster right now. But then, after, a couple of, words, maybe one or two, John Silver and Alex Reynolds come in, and they steal the segment, basically. We finally get to see, a lot of character from Alex Reynolds. He's, the more serious member of their team. But with, some work, he can be as charismatic as John Silver. Because here, John Silver, by himself, steals the show. He carries his team throughout this whole segment. He says a lot of zinger lines, he called the House of Black spooky perverts, the thing the Dark Order have been called for a long time. And then he also adds this one jab, this one subtle jab that I searched for on Twitter and nobody seemed to notice. It's when John Silver brings up a very, very feared catchphrase from a few years ago from another company. He basically says, believe that. So yeah, this was really good here. John Silver steals the show. I'm glad that we're seeing more of this team, and I hope this is the start of a resurgence for the Dark Order, because this team here is better than what they're portrayed as. They're better than just a jobber team, and I think that if given a chance, they can have as much character as the Gun Club and the Acclaimed, or even more, because John Silver has more charisma than any of those four dudes. But of course, they have to lose on Rampage first against Malachi Black and Brody King. And then we'll get the resurgence, hopefully. So after this is the Claudio Castagnoli versus Jake Hager match. And this might be the most made-for-TV match for the whole show. The start was very promising when they each tried to bait each other to do high-risk moves in order to take advantage of the match, but they both ended up countering out of them. And I like how much the commentators emphasized this, because if they didn't, it would look like there's too much caution being showed by the wrestlers, that it's looking too much of an act, but it came off as them baiting each other to do moves. So yeah, this might be my spot of the match. I'm just gonna get that out now, because this might be the only spot of the match for me. So after this, we get a 619 by Claudio, or the Tiger Feint kick. That's what they call it in the old game in Shut Your Mouth. And people might hate this because Hager kicked out of it. And people might hate this, how people are kicking out of super kicks, and other finisher moves that are not being used as finishers. But my rationale to this is that the guy who originally does it as a finisher isn't the one doing it, so this other person who's trying to do it isn't doing it right. So that's why people are kicking out of it. So yeah. But for the 619 or the Tiger Feint kick, I never really saw the kick as the move that finishes opponents. For me, it's always Rey Mysterio's springboard attack that comes after that finishes the match. And then for the next, like, about 8 minutes, it became like a bog standard TV match that had almost nothing interesting happening. It's just like the usual thing that we see in the WWE. We have like a lot of resting, a lot of like unimpactful moves. There's no working on body parts even. But then when we get to like minute number 10, we get the swing and then a sharpshooter. He almost gets Hager to tap, but then Hager like calls for his buddies. And then Cool Hand Ange and Daddy Magic like run to the ring. And then this is the part that I hate the most because it made Claudio look like a chump. It made him look like an idiot. He broke the hold and then tried to punch Ange, even if they can't do a thing like to break the hold itself. Like Claudio can just sit there with the sharpshooter and like just hold Hager in that position until Bryce Remsburg realizes the situation and then like sends the managers out. And yeah, this made Claudio look kind of dumb. But then he finally catches Ange with a punch, but yeah, this doesn't fix the problem. So after he finally punches Ange off of the apron, he does the Ricola Bomb on Claudio for the win. So yeah, this match was very made for TV. For me, it's like a TV undercard, and it shouldn't even be in a pay-per-view. It shouldn't be in consideration. So yeah, this was like okay. It was better than a lot of the matches last week, but that's like a low bar. And I'm sure that if you watch the match, even if you're like a traditional wrestling fan who likes the boring stuff with all the punching and shit, I think you're gonna agree with me that this match wasn't all that good, and the crowd here was very silent, so yeah. You can't argue with that. Next match. So after this, we have an interview by Lexi on Hook, and yeah, Hook doesn't talk. Lexi hints at a title shot, but I don't know which one he can go for. So yeah, I don't know what's next for Hook. He doesn't say anything. There's no direction to his like storyline at all. He's just like a comedy character or a gag. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with Hook. For me, he's more of a comedy character than Orange Cassidy is or Danhausen, because at least they're doing something. With Hook, someone has to instigate a storyline with him or he does nothing. So yeah, I just don't like Hook segments anymore. So after this, we have like a backstage interview with like Tony Schiavone interviewing Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm, but Thunder Rosa does most of the talking. I mean, she's okay now. She's doing a lot better, but her in-ring charisma is better than her like promo charisma. It's still not all there, but she's getting better. She's like getting lost with her words, but not as much as she was like a few weeks ago. So yeah, she talks about her match in Tokyo Joshi Pro when she lost to Miyu Yamashita. Tony Schiavone kind of gets the name wrong. The Yamashita becomes Tamashita or something. Thunder Rosa puts over Yamashita. She puts over the Thunderstorm team. And then we get some insider terms when Britt Baker shows up. She makes fun of her like promo skills, of Thunder Rosa's promo skills. She brings out a sandbag because like she tweeted about that a few weeks ago. And then Thunder Rosa bites back with like, I'm gonna bear you with it. This part here works so nicely. all the insider terms like blend in well in this like very short part of this promo that it makes it actually good. Thunder Rosa cut like an average promo, but this here, the way she like counters these big burns by Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, this made this one actually really good, and I fucking enjoyed it. Thunder Rosa actually sounded better yelling. Yeah. So yeah, great backstage segment. This really worked here. Best backstage women's segment in a long time. And Tony Storm doesn't talk, but Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter have it down. They sound better than everyone here, but I love the effort from Thunder Rosa. So after that, we have the singles match between Serena Deeb and Anna Jay. So Anna Jay is wrestling in her home state. Her parents are actually in the crowd. She hugs them. This match got more consistent cheers than the Claudio versus Hager one, and I kind of enjoyed this more than that one. But goddamn, Anna Jay isn't like Dynamite ready yet for me because, I mean, she is getting better. This was a better match than the one she had with Jade Cargill, but I don't know. She needs a little more reps. She's better than Marina Shafir is, but yeah, still not Dynamite ready. Maybe like have her wrestle in Dark or like on Rampage or something. But yeah, not on Dynamite. She was blessed to have an opponent like Serena Deeb here who could like carry the match by herself. But Anna Jay wasn't like dead weight. She was like alright too, but I mean, yeah, Serena Deeb should get a lot of credit for this match. Because there was like one botch and then they managed to jankily save the spot. But yeah, I mean, the commentators helped too, but that didn't look good in my opinion. It's when from a pile driver position, Anna Jay like tries to toss Serena Deeb over her head, but Anna falls like almost squarely on Serena Deeb's head. And then to save this, like Deeb tries to roll up Anna for a pin, but it still doesn't look good. And like the way Anna Jay moves is like a WWE diva from the early to late 2000s. The way she moves is like she's trying not to break a nail. Like you could see the difference here. Deeb is a lot more rugged. She moves like one of the dudes actually. And then Anna Jay is like trying to like model walk and stuff. It just doesn't look good. She needs to work on that. Like all the top women and all of like the middle third all like try to move like very naturally. They're not trying to like walk a runway or something like models. And that's kind of how Anna Jay moves. She like is trying not to break anything. And there was one spot that I didn't like. The one where Serena spins Anna around. This looks silly and I don't like it. And it also leads to the botch. So yeah, boo this move. And then Serena carried the shit out of this match. Like she knew how to work the crowd. She like did all of her moves correctly. And she even did this like submission move that I don't know how anyone can escape from because all of like Serena's weight was on Anna's head, and I thought this was gonna be the finish. I thought this was gonna be like a technical submission victory for Serena, but it like dragged on a little bit more to a finish that I actually really liked, and it's gonna be one of the spots of the match. So yeah. So now I'm gonna talk about the spots of the match. So number 3 is when Deeb got Anna leaning on the guardrail, like right in front of her family, and then she like did some heel work, she did a chop, and then Anna turns this around. We have some like nice reactions from her like family and relatives on the front row, but then Deeb regains control with an eye poke, and then I love her reaction when like one of the old women on like the front row were trying to like touch her. Nice touch here from Serena Deeb. So number 2 is the submission that I really liked, that I think should have finished the match. It looked like a technical submission move. That's kind of what Serena's style is. And I think this looks really good. This should be like a finisher or something. It looks devastating, and I don't know how anyone could escape from it, especially if like the one doing it is like heavier than Serena Deeb. So yeah, number 2 spot. And for the number 1 spot of the match, it's the finish. I really like the finish. Deeb was trying to do something to Anna while Anna's on the floor, and then Anna counters this. She like kicks her around, does the Queen Slayer, and then Deeb manages to get up from this. She counters with an arm drag, and then she does the Serenity Lock on Anna Jay for the win. It's like an automatic tap out. She doesn't even struggle. This made Deeb look really strong. And Anna Jay wasn't completely bad in this one, like she was with Jade at Double or Nothing. But yeah, she needs a little more work. This was a better match than the last one. I enjoyed this more than Cesaro versus Hager. So yeah. And then after this, Mercedes Martinez makes the save, and then we get like further build up to the match at Death Before Dishonor. And then after this, we have Jade and the Baddies with Stokely Hathaway cutting a promo against like Athena and Chris Statlander, who have been trash talking them for like weeks now on Rampage. And yeah, the Tony cut the shit line is still like getting old. It's not making sense anymore that she's saying this because Tony's not doing anything like offensive or anything to support the good guys. She's just like telling him to shut up even when like there's no reason to. This is getting kind of dumb. So yeah, it's getting old for me. This whole thing is getting old, and they're still bitching about their new member. I mean, have you not heard about Cannon Fodder? She would make perfect like Cannon Fodder. She's like just a body to take the beating against Chris and Athena. So yeah, so we're gonna get more on Rampage, and I can't wait for the match where like Athena or Chris Statlander finally gets that title from Jade. And I'm dreading when Jade will finally beat Thunder Rosa. That would be like the worst shit ever. We're just gonna have like squash matches against actual women who can like go in the ring for like 30 minutes. It's gonna be a Jade Reign of Terror, but none of the matches are gonna be good. People are just gonna praise her for her looks and that's it. But yeah, fuck this whole thing. Have her drop the title already. Have her like work on Dark. Have her work on her wrestling and give us a real champion, please. So like, Tony, cut the shit. So after this, we go to like commentary, to the commentary table where Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt take one of like the headsets, and then Jay cuts a passionate promo on it. It's a great promo about how he'll beat Samoa Joe, and I like how like the mic is like so terrible. I think like Jay's talking on the wrong side of the mic, and then this just like adds to the promo itself. It makes it more authentic, and by God, is Jay Lethal very good at promos. So yeah, I really like this segment here. It's not backstage anymore, finally. They don't say any cringe lines. It's just Jay Lethal straight up saying to Samoa Joe that he'll kick his ass, the student is going to beat the teacher. And yeah, Jay Lethal, so good at promos. What a nice way to build up the feud even more. Until when finally Samoa Joe's going to show up and finally like respond physically to all of these three guys. I can't wait for him to kick Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt's ass and like set up for the match at Death Before Dishonor properly. So after this, we cut to commercial, and then when we come back, we have like a backstage confrontation between Anna Jay and Tay Conti, like setting up for a new rivalry since they were like a tag team back in the day. By back in the day, I mean like last year. And now they're gonna be at odds with each other. Anna's alright, but Tay has it down. She can talk, she can promo, even if like she's not the best at English. Her delivery makes us take her very seriously here. So yeah, really good stuff from Tay Conti. I'm looking forward to how Anna Jay will progress during this feud. I think this is exactly what she needs, but I think Tay's gonna win this feud at the end. And it's probably gonna be like Jungle Boy and Sammy Guevara, like after his shit with Christian, or maybe in the middle, I don't know. But yeah, I'm liking this idea for this feud between these two women. Can't wait to see how it progresses. So after this, we finally get the main event. And it's the three-way tag team title match between the Young Bucks, Starks and Hobbs, and Swerve in Our Glory. So from the start of this match, I know I say this every time a match like this comes around, but yeah, from the start of the match, you could feel like it was going to be epic. It didn't look like it was going to be like a PWG spot fest like the Young Bucks matches usually, or like most of their three-way tag team matches. But for this one, they managed to do like a show stealer, but make it like slower paced. Because there are two big dudes in the match, so they can't just wrestle the way they've wrestled against like the Lucha Bros or against Jurassic Express. They can't like go flipping around all over the place to the delight of the old heads. But yeah, they managed to show that they can wrestle any type of match, including one like this. Because, like I said, the match was slower, and they had to work against bigger wrestlers, and I've never seen the Bucks, I think, work against, like, heavyweights. Against super heavyweights like Keith Lee and Powerhouse Hobbs. So I've never actually seen some of the stuff that happened in this match. So yeah, I have a lot of honorable mentions for spot in the match. And I'm gonna talk about that in like maybe the longest spots in the match segment that I've ever done ever. So yeah. So the match starts out like the way I felt that this was gonna be special was when like Matt Jackson ducked out of like a spinning kick, of like a flying spinning kick by Keith Lee, and this one looked good. It wasn't one of those like kicks where the opponent is like so far away from the guy kicking, just like with Malachi Black and Penta that one time. Penta was like nowhere near Malachi, but this Matt was like pretty close to Keith Lee. And then the flippiest and the most PWG spot happens right after when Nick Jackson and Swerve Strickland are both in the ring. They do some flips outside the ring and then they like drop kick each other's legs. But yeah, this is like the peak of the flippiness in this match, and I think the old heads are gonna like this. Or at least hate it less than the Young Bucks' usual matches. So yeah, all of the teams managed to showcase what they've got. Every one of these teams looked like they could win. This was pretty unpredictable in that department. And even the winner of the match, I didn't think that they would win. I thought like another non-champion team would win here. And I'm going to explain that later. We have some really nice taunt spots, especially from Ricky Starks. One that was like with Powerhouse Hobbs. They like make a taunt showing that they're really good friends and that they're never like gonna betray each other or something for something stupid, just like with Swerve and Keith. And then like the other taunt is like sort of kind of stupid and is like the lowest part of the match. It's when like Starks and the Bucks do like a triple super kick on Keith Lee, finally taking him out, finally making him land backwards. Because like before this, they like the Bucks do a double super kick. They manage to bring Keith Lee on his knees, and then Starks comes to help, and finally like gets Keith on his back. So yeah, and then after this, Starks calls for a taunt, like a triple taunt. They do one. Starks does his like hand on face, while the Bucks do their Young Bucks pose, but then they like double super kick the shit out of Starks. And I think this was like pretty dumb. This was the worst spot in the entire match. But yeah, aside from this, everything was really cool, and I'm gonna get to that right after this. Like, it's coming up next, I promise. But yeah, the crowd here in Savannah, Georgia aren't the most active. They haven't been like super active for the rest of the night. But I guess this is as much as we'll get. They chant like "this is awesome" chants as well as like some other chants, but they're just not the sort of crowd that would like have enough energy to cheer for the whole match. So yeah, but coming from this crowd, the crowd reaction here was pretty good compared to like the rest of the show. So now let's get to the many spots of the match. So I'm gonna talk about the honorable mentions first. So first honorable mention is when Ricky Starks like uses his dick to like attack Swerve Strickland, like right in the face. He like hits Swerve in the face with his crotch, and then this gets a nice pop from the crowd. Another honorable mention is when Matt Jackson does his like Northern Light suplex thing. He does it on Ricky Starks and Swerve Strickland, but when he tries to do it on Keith Lee, he doesn't succeed. So Powerhouse Hobbs comes over to help Keith, and then again Nick Jackson tries it, but there's like a lot less hope for this one. And then the two big dudes just like double suplex him. Another honorable mention is the like double crotch on the rope spot. It's kind of stupid how Starks and Nick Jackson have a conversation while walking on the ropes, holding on to their opponents, like, do something already. But yeah, this was really funny. Okay, so for the top spots of the match, like, proper, I'm gonna go with 4. I know there's like too many spots here to talk about, so I'm gonna go with 4 in like the actual ranking. So number 4 is the Bullfrog Splash from Powerhouse Hobbs on Keith Lee, who's like so far away from the turnbuckle. It's like more than half the distance away from Powerhouse Hobbs's like jumping point. So Hobbs dives on Keith Lee and then it hits and we get a nice pop. Really good spot, nice star-making performance here for Hobbs. And then the number 3 spot is where Hobbs, again, he like spine busters everyone on everyone. Again, star-making performance here for Powerhouse Hobbs. Give this man a title. And then for number 2 spot of the match, it's when the Bucks did their like usual outside dive with Matt Jackson forming a V and then Nick Jackson jumping over the V. So like when they do this, Nick Jackson dives over like Matt Jackson's V and then Keith Lee just catches him mid-air and then power bombs him on Matt Jackson, who's like doing the V position while on the ropes on the apron. This was really good. And then for the number 1 spot in the match, it's the finish. So by the finish, I mean from the moonsault on Keith Lee's chest by Swerve, and then Starks wasn't one of the people who got jumped on, so he enters back in the ring, prepares to do like a running move on Keith Lee, but then Keith just like does the pounce and then makes Starks fly out, effectively taking him out and then setting him up for Swerve later. And then Keith does an outside dive on everyone else outside, taking them out. And then with Starks in perfect position, Swerve gets on the top turnbuckle and then does the Swerve Stomp for the win. We have new tag team champions. Congratulations to Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee for such an amazing performance here. But I think we got wrong winners. I think Starks and Hobbs should have won. I feel that heel champions would have been better. They would make better opponents for FTR to beat for the titles, and I just don't think that like Keith and Swerve are on the same page enough to like be tag team champions. I think they still have heat against each other, and yeah. I don't know how the titles are gonna go to FTR before they have to drop one of the titles that they're holding. It boggles the mind, but I think eventually we'll get Starks and Hobbs as champion, and they're gonna be the ones to drop the titles to FTR. So yeah, no question, this match is like pay-per-view main event level. It's that fucking good. We got to see like a slower Young Bucks match, even if it was like pretty fast already for them. But like overall, we got time to breathe from the moves. So yeah, this was a great Dynamite, a great special Dynamite, as it should be. I mean, if we had like a Fyter Fest Dynamite that was as bad as like last week's, so this would have been like so disappointing, but this was really fucking good. And I don't think the ratings reflect how good this show was. So here are my match rankings. And I'm going to move on to talking about the ratings. And then I'm going to work on a Rampage review. And then I have to like make a review of like Noah Destination, where they finally book it right. So just pause the video if you want to ponder on the match rankings even more. And I'm just going to move on to the ratings part of the show. Okay, so for the ratings of this week's Dynamite, they have a total viewership of 942,000. And unfortunately, this is down from last week's pretty bad episode. We have a nice 0.32, 19 to 49. Like, that's total for male and female. It's the most for this week, as well as for the one that's sorted between sexes. So yeah, for the males, 18 to 49, it's like 0.40. It's so far ahead from anything else. The closest one is like 0.27 from the 5. And then for the female demographic, Dynamite is in like the upper half, but it isn't as much as Real Housewives with 0.4. We got like a 0.23 with Dynamite. So yeah, again, Dynamite is number one on cable telecast because there are no sports and this is how it should be. But I think they should be doing like a consistent 1 million every week. And I think with next week's show, with that crazy stipulation, that's probably going to draw a million. And yeah. Congratulations again for AEW getting number one. I hope that like deal that's being rumored around gets them on a larger TV channel, gets more eyes on the product, and gets them like a bigger budget. Because the WWE is going to be removing its like PG rating. They're going to be going to TV 14, and it's just going to make it harder for like Dynamite, all in all. So yeah, so great episode of Dynamite with all right ratings. I think they should have been like a million based on the quality of the show. But yeah, what can you do? So yeah, that's it for this review and the ratings. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, and subscribe for engagement. Share if you don't know me. Hit that bell notification for future videos. And please, watch my shit.